So if you had asked me whether or not to invest in FDs a year ago, I would have said no. But things have changed, and what has changed is the budget. So definitely FDs have their place in a lot of people's portfolios. In fact, I would say most people's portfolios. Because some part of it needs to stay safe, needs to provide a regular income, and some part can sit in equity and compound. So it started with my family. My parents are doctors. They don't have a clue about money or how to manage it. So they would ask me, of all people. I was a kid, I didn't know anything back then. And that got me thinking for the first time in my life. And it was a rabbit hole. Like, I read a little bit, and back then there weren't too many good resources. Then I did a degree in finance, postgraduate. And then I came back and I began working for a financial planner. And initially I thought that would be my career. I would be a financial advisor or a planner. Yeah, so Value Research back then was quite a small company, even now is. So therefore Dhiren, who's the founder, he directly supervises most of the editorial staff, which you would almost get nowhere else because there's always layers of people. So my great luck in life was to work for him very early in my career, and he's a brilliant writer himself. So some of the things he told me is that you should treat words like money, like don't spend words. Every word you use should be very carefully spent. And back then I was active on Twitter, and my former boss at Mint used to follow me on Twitter, and I was quite outspoken. I still am. So one day she just messaged me randomly that, are you interested in working at Mint? And I jumped at the chance. Mint was my dream. Mint was the authoritative source for a lot of Indians, and so I was very happy to get that chance. So for many, many years, I don't think anybody really paid any attention to online views. I mean, the website was there, and oddly enough, Live Mint as a website became a lot more famous than the print paper. But thankfully, that allowed a tradition to emerge where we didn't write because we want to get views. We wrote because we thought this was a genuine problem. We thought this needed some answers. So I think you put it well when you gave the example of different generations. Our parents' generation made a different set of mistakes. Back then, there was an addiction to real estate and gold. And they have carried those ideas with them for the past more than a decade. Real estate has been stagnant, and this is proven in the RBI data, in the RBI house price index. But they have invested, and then they have underperformed. So I think if you're maybe over 40, over 50, it is time to have a look at other asset classes like equity. Equity can really build your wealth. If you are young, be very careful about social media. Just figure out who this person is, are they being sponsored, and who is SEBI authorized or not. Let's say 5-10 years of experience is going to be earning a decent salary, and that is a stage of life to accumulate money to invest in equity. That doesn't mean just go out in equity all crazy. You have to have some debt, you have to have a balanced portfolio. And familiarity with financial markets can also be done. You can learn about this from the right sources. So if you had asked me whether or not to invest in FDs a year ago, I would have said no. But things have changed, and what has changed is the budget. So before the budget, debt funds had this tremendous tax advantage. After 3 years, if you sold it, then you were just taxed at 20% and you got the benefit of indexation. That advantage is gone. So now you can compare the two products on the basis of returns alone. And FDs have the added advantage that they are guaranteed, whereas with debt funds, there is still some volatility. So definitely FDs have their place in a lot of people's portfolios. In fact, I would say most people's portfolios. Because some part of it needs to stay safe, needs to provide a regular income, and some part can sit in equity and compound. So I think that people in the FD space just don't know enough about the high interest FDs. Usually the tendency is that whichever is your current bank, go and ask that bank what your FD rates are and make your FD there only. But there is a whole market out there. You're ignoring that potential of earning higher returns. And there is the fact that up to 5 lakhs you have protection from deposit guarantee. So even if the bank does go bust, which is in India very rare, you're going to be protected. So it makes absolute sense to go and shop around and find out the best interest rate available. I invest roughly 50% of my assets in equity mutual funds, and that to one equity mutual fund, which is Parag Parikh Flexi Cap. The debt side of it, I invest in another fund of theirs, which is Parag Parikh Conservative Hybrid Fund. Apart from this, I have NPS. I'm very bullish on NPS. I think that will finance my retirement. So there, I consistently invest every year. I have some gold ETFs, and some of it is a personality thing. So I'm very pessimistic as a person. So I can't invest too much money in equity. I never think good, the economy is going to rock and we're all going to be doing wonderfully. So I put money in gold, I put money in debt, and it keeps me happy. One is to, it's a cliche, but save as much as you can. The rule of thumb is 1/3 to 1/4 of your salary should be put away every year. The other is to be very careful about who you get your advice from. A lot of people, like we discussed, our generation, Gen Z, etc., get it from influencers, from Insta, etc., which is great. I mean, it's fun to watch that, but supplement that with good sources. At the risk of promoting ourselves, go to Mint and talk to a financial advisor. And the third thing is just stay invested. Whatever product you choose, if you choose an equity fund, stay there as long as you can. Time in the market matters much more than timing the market. If you have done debt, even debt needs time to compound. Don't just have one thing 1 year, next year you've completely switched everything.